Hi everyone, welcome to a new tutorial. Recently, one PhD student reached out to me asking how can we create a 3D representation of a sensor where we have antibodies, right? Here you can see a graphical representation here, and this is a graphical abstract from research paper Electrochemical Detection of Viruses and Antibodies, a mini review. Let's see how we can quickly model an antibody first. Then we will use particle system to distribute all these antibodies on surface of a substrate. And if you simply Google, you can see many more examples of sensors where antibodies are used. Okay, let me open Blender. So I'll select everything. I'll delete and I will add a UV sphere. Shift A mesh UV sphere and go to wireframe mode. You can also add new objects by going to add mesh and UV sphere. Now I'll go to edit mode so that I can edit this sphere. Go to edit mode by pressing tab or click here edit mode and click on Y here so that we can look at the sphere from one side. Click and drag select half of the spheres, half of the vertex points. Don't include the middle line like this. Now zoom out a little bit and select this move tool so that you can move it upwards. I will zoom it out like this and move this up. I'll go back, press tab. Now this is one part of the antibody. I'll duplicate it. Shortcut is Shift D and move this to one side and duplicate it again. Shift D, move it here, and we need to rotate it along Y axis. RY, and that might be okay. Duplicate it again, Shift D, move it here, rotate along Y. Now mirror it along X axis. This is X axis. Go to object, mirror X global. Now we have a perfect mirror of this one. Now we need short chains, right? So duplicate this, Shift D and move it like that. Now we can reduce the size along Z axis. Simply press S then Z so that you can make it smaller like this. Now move it up and keep it closer like that. Make sure that it is in line with the heavy chains. If it is going outward, it will not good. Okay, that's good. I can go to solid preview mode so that you can see clearly. Select this again. Shift D, move it here and mirror again. Object, mirror, X global and keep it here. Now move this slightly up and move this slightly up. Okay, now we have a symbol representation of an antibody. Now go to materials, click on new and switch to material preview mode. Increase metallic option, reduce roughness. And I'll simply right click and shade smooth so that we can make the surface smooth. Before adding shade smooth, you can see I'll go back, Ctrl Z. You can see the subdivision, right click, shade smooth. Select this and choose the same material here in this drop down menu you can find. Now we need to create a new material for this. So I'll select all of these four together and I will join them. Press Ctrl J. So here you are basically joining multiple objects into one. You can also unjoin it by going to edit mode and press P by loose parts so that you can unjoin it. I will not show it here just not to confuse you. And again click on new, choose a color for that and I will increase metallic option so that the surface will look more shiny. Reduce the roughness, right click, shade smooth. The surface is smooth. Now we have an antibody. All right. Now we need a substrate. Press Shift A and go to mesh, plane. We have a plane here. Increase the scale. Press S and move the mouse like that. Now scale it along Y axis. S, Y like that. Now we will join all of these together like this. Select first. Press Ctrl J. Now you can see the origin has moved here. We need the origin to be at the base. So I'll move this slightly up and choose this 3D cursor and click at the bottom of the antibody like this. Make sure that it is exactly at the bottom, not along the sides like this. Okay, so zoom in and click here. Now right click, set origin to center of mass. Now the origin has shifted from that position to here. If you select move tool, you will right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Now origin has moved from here to here, you can see. Now it is easier for us to use this in a particle system. Click this plane, go to particles, click on this plus icon and click on hair. Now you can see small hair particles are growing from here. Increase the hair length like this. Okay, so I'll reduce the number of hairs to 100 and go down, go to render, change render as from path to object. Select this eyedropper tool in instance object and pick this antibody. And here we need to adjust the rotation of all these antibodies. Now they are lying on the surface. Activate object rotation. Now look at that, it is not yet there. Now select the parent antibody that you have here and rotate it. Choose rotate tool, and if you rotate it, you can see they are rotating. And fix its rotation like this. Make sure that they are standing perpendicular to the surface, and we will move it to one side. Now this looks fine. The number is high. We will reduce the number of particles like this. Okay, and here that looks fine. And if you want to increase the scale, again you can see under render there is a scale option. You can adjust that. Now all of them are aligned in one direction. If you want to make it uniform, activate advanced option here and activate rotation and increase phase like this. And now increase randomness. Okay, we need to make sure that they are not overlapping. Accordingly choose a size. Now we need some thickness for the substrate. Go to modifiers, click on add modifier and choose solidify and adjust the thickness and choose a material for that as well. Okay, that looks fine. Now I'll switch to render preview mode and let's take an image. Shift A, light area lamp, increase the scale of the lamp and here increase the brightness of the lamp as well in light settings. So we have our plane which is very big now, that is why we are not getting enough light. So to fix that, simply increase power of the light. That looks fine. I'll reduce the metallic character of the substrate. Go to material properties and reduce the metallic so that we can reduce the reflection and increase the roughness a little bit. Now I'll add a camera. Let's take an image. Shift A, camera, and this view looks good. We have a camera in the scene. To fix the camera to the current default position, there is a trick. Go to view, cameras, set active object as camera. Now we are looking through the camera in the same direction. Now zoom in a little bit and simply lock the camera here. Now zoom out and fix the view. Camera is locked. You can move this however you want. Now go to render properties. Under film, activate transparent option. I'll reduce the thickness of the plane a little bit. Okay, this looks good and I will click on render. So one thing that you can consider, if you don't want to make all of them random, you can simply go back and reduce the randomness so that you have a more uniform view that might be more cleaner. We all know that it will be randomly aligned. It's up to you. So I'll go back, Control Z. Now I'll click on render image. Yeah, now you have an image and you can save this. Go to image and click on save as to save the image. So in most cases you will be having something, a virus or some antigen that will be coming and binding to this antibody. So I'll add Shift A mesh a icosphere and increase its scale like this. Go to materials and add a material for that as well. Right click, shade smooth. I can simply subdivide this icosphere by adding a subdivision surface modifier. Right click, shade smooth, it looks smooth. Now that looks good. You can improve the lighting by duplicating this light, Shift D. So the camera is looking from this direction, so I'll add some light from this direction of the camera like this, RZ, and I'll increase the scale so that we have more diffuse light. Okay, this looks fine. Tilt the view like that, and yeah, again click on render image. So I hope you learned how to create 3D view of a biosensor where we have antibodies, and you can rotate the view and take images however you want. So if you are making, for example, it uniform in rotation like this by reducing the randomness, you will get better image like this. All right. So that's all. See you in the next tutorial.